Today our concept is biotechnology principles and processes. First, let us discuss about biotechnology. Who proposed the term biotechnology? The term biotechnology was proposed by Carl Ehricke. The term biotechnology was proposed by Carl Ehricke, and some considered him as the father of biotechnology. Some people consider him that he is the father of biotechnology. And this is biotechnology. The term biotechnology was proposed by Carl Ehricke. And what is biotechnology? Biotechnology means utilization of organisms or enzymes from the organisms. Utilization of live organisms or enzymes from the organisms to produce products for human beings. Is known as biotechnology. The process, it is a branch of biology that deals with biotechnology is a branch of biology that deals with by using of organisms, using of live organisms or enzymes from the organisms. Either directly we can use the live organism or we can use the enzyme produced by live organisms. Anyone, either by using of live organisms or by using of enzymes from the organisms, if we produce products and services, then that is called as biotechnology. And biotechnology, European Federation of Biotechnology given one statement that European Federation of Biotechnology, EFB, European Federation of Biotechnology, they have given one statement that integration of natural science and organisms, and using of molecular analogues. Analogues means concepts. Molecular analogues to produce products and services for human beings is known as biotechnology. That is given by EFB, European Federation of Biotechnology. So normal definition for biotechnology is it is a branch of biology that deals with production of useful products to human beings by using of live organisms or enzymes from the organisms. By using of live organisms or enzymes from the live organisms, if we produce products and services to human beings, then that is called as biotechnology. That is normal definition for biotechnology. Next, European Federation of Biotechnology, they have given that statement, integration of natural science and organisms. And molecular analogues. Molecular analogues means the molecular biological concepts. Means like DNA structure, RNA structure, and mechanism of production of proteins. All these things can come under molecular analogues. So European Federation of Biotechnology given that natural science, integration of natural science and organisms and molecular analogues and cell concepts, all these things to produce products and services to human beings. That is called biotechnology. These are the two definitions given by, normally given. One definition is given by European Federation of Biotechnology, that is very, very important. That integration of natural science and organisms and molecular analogues to produce products and services to human beings. That is biotechnology. And as per this definition, we can say that by using of directly organisms, we can use directly organisms to produce products. For example, based on here, we can understand that production of curd is also comes under biotechnology. We can see, let us try to apply this definition to production of curd. Now, by using of live organisms to produce products and services to human beings. Any product if you produce for human beings by using of live organisms, that comes under biotechnology. So that preparation of curd is also comes under biotechnology. For example, one more thing we can take, that hibiscus plants. The hibiscus plants, hibiscus cannabinus. So not normal hibiscus, hibiscus cannabinus, which produces sun hemp. Hibiscus cannabinus, not normal hibiscus plant. Normal hibiscus plant produces flowers. That is hibiscus, that is Rosea sinensis, that is different. And this is hibiscus cannabinus. Hibiscus cannabinus produces jute. So which is used to produce some gunny bags and something. So that jute is also, when the plants are taken from the soil and they are made bundles, and these bundles, they are kept inside the water for retting process. These bundles of the hibiscus plants are wet inside the water, and they lose that, finally the bark will be loosed. Inside the bark only we will get the fiber. That is only what we can say, jute. So that process also, we use microorganisms for the loosening the tissue. So this process also can be considered as biotechnology. This process also can be considered as biotechnology. But these are the things that all come under ancient. These are the things that all come under conventional biotechnology methods, old biotechnology. These are all the things comes under old biotechnology. Preparation of wine. So that has been happening since from many years. So that this is also comes under preparation of wine or preparation of curd and retting process for jute. So all these things are come under old biotechnology. And in the modern biotechnology, what are the two things that are happening in the modern biotechnology? Let us see. Modern biotechnology. In the modern biotechnology, what are the two things we are doing? In modern biotechnology, in ancient or old biotechnology, we have seen to production of curd and production of some antibiotics. These are all comes under old biotechnology. Now modern biotechnology. In the modern biotechnology, genetic engineering. So genetic engineering is another one more technique for genetic engineering, and genetic engineering and chemical engineering process. Second one is chemical engineering process. Genetic engineering, and in the chemical engineering process by using of microorganisms. Now let us see in the modern biotechnology, genetic engineering, alteration of the chemistry of gene, alteration of the chemistry of DNA or RNA or genetic material to introduce into host organisms. Alteration of the chemistry or the chemical nature of DNA or RNA to introduce into a host. So this process is called genetic engineering. Simply what we have to understand, genetic engineering is the process where it enables the transfer of one particular gene from one organism, or transfer of one desirable gene from one organism to another organism. This is only what we can say, genetic engineering. A desirable gene can be isolated from a normal organism, and that can be inserted into another new organism. This is only what we can say is genetic engineering. Next, providing a sterile ambience. Ambience means surrounding. Providing a sterile ambience in chemical engineering process. Providing a sterile ambience in chemical engineering process to enable the growth of a microorganism. To produce products and services. So this is the second one. So first one is genetic engineering. Genetic engineering means alteration of genetic material, alteration of the chemical nature of DNA or RNA to introduce into one host organism to produce desirable phenotype. That is called genetic engineering. And in the chemical engineering process, to provide the sterile ambience in a chemical engineering process to enable the growth of an organism, for producing a desirable product. That is called the chemical engineering method. Reproduction is two types: sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, variations will be obtained, and in asexual reproduction, these variations will be continued, or these variations will be preserved. So ancient breeding processes were depend on these two steps only. Ancient breeding methods were dependent on these two methods only. What are those two methods? First one is hybridization, second one is asexual reproduction. So after hybridization, some variations will be obtained. These variations will be present in the microorganisms. So these variations present in the plants or organisms, and these variations will be continued for the next generation by asexual reproduction. So these are traditional methods of breeding. But now artificial methods of breeding, now modern methods of breeding are followed by biotechnology like gene cloning. The modern methods are like gene cloning. So gene cloning and gene transfer. Gene cloning and gene transfer. Gene cloning and gene transfer. So these are the two methods. Now these are the two methods which are used to develop a new variety of plants and animals. New variety of plants and animals. That is gene cloning and gene transfer. By using of gene cloning, what is gene cloning? Preparation of or production of multiple copies of one particular gene is known as gene cloning. Production of multiple copies of one particular gene is known as gene cloning. And next one is gene transfer. Gene transfer is to transfer the gene from transfer the desirable gene from one organism to another organism. That is called gene transfer. Gene transfer and gene cloning, these are the now two methods we are using for production of new breeds of plants and animals. Now let us discuss about rDNA technology. rDNA technology. rDNA technology is also known as recombinant DNA technology. rDNA technology is also known as recombinant DNA technology. So that is proposed by Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen. Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen. In this method of rDNA technology, what will be done? A particular piece of gene or a particular piece of DNA, or also known as alien DNA, is transferred into one new organism by using of vectors, by using of plasmid vectors. So in this process, the first plasmid is donated by Salmonella typhimurium. Very, very important question, that is Salmonella typhimurium. Salmonella typhimurium. Salmonella typhimurium is a bacterium. Salmonella typhimurium is a bacterium which donated the plasmid, or the plasmid collected for first DNA technology is from Salmonella typhimurium. The plasmid collected from this bacteria to construct the first rDNA process. In the first rDNA process, construction of the first rDNA, the plasmid is taken from Salmonella typhimurium. So this process is done by Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen. The newly constructed DNA is also called as rDNA or recombinant DNA, also known as chimeric DNA. Chimera means what? What is the meaning of chimera? So chimera means the process of combination. Chimera means combination. So chimeric DNA, combination of two DNAs. So rDNA means already when we know plasmid vector. What is plasmid? Plasmid is nothing but extra chromosomal DNA present in the bacteria. Plasmid is nothing but extra chromosomal DNA present in bacteria. The extra chromosomal DNA is round or circular, double stranded. It is circular and double stranded, and it can undergo self-replication. These are the characters. It can undergo self-replication, and these are the characters of plasmid. First one, plasmid is extra chromosomal DNA, non-chromosomal DNA or extra chromosomal DNA present in the bacterial cell. And a plasmid can undergo self-replication, and a plasmid can transfer the genes from one organism to another organism. And plasmid is a double-stranded circular DNA. And plasmids can be used to transfer the genes from one organism to another organism. Now, for example, if you take the bacterial cell like this, this is bacterial cell. Inside the bacterial cell, now this is DNA. Which DNA? This is chromosomal DNA, or this is bacterial DNA. and this is plasmid. So plasmid is present like this, double stranded circular DNA, and this is main DNA of bacteria, so that this is called chromosomal DNA. This is called chromosomal DNA, and the chromosomal DNA, and this is extra chromosomal DNA. This is called plasmid. So plasmid is also known as molecular vehicles. Plasmids are also known as molecular vehicles, which are used to transmit the genes from one organism to another organism. So that is plasmid. Now let us see tools of rDNA technology. Tools of rDNA technology. Tools of rDNA technology. Tools of rDNA technology. So in the tools of rDNA technology, you will get what are the tools. First one is restriction enzymes. Restriction enzymes. The first tool is restriction enzymes, and second one is plasmid vectors. Second one is plasmid vectors, and third one is plasmid vectors. Next one, host organisms. Host organisms. Host organisms. And fifth one, fourth one is ligase enzymes. Ligase enzymes. And fifth one is bioreactors. 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 So these are the ligase, or another some enzyme is, for example, Taq polymerase, like ligase are some enzymes, some other enzymes. So now first of all let us see restriction enzymes. So these are the total tools of rDNA technology. These are all the tools of rDNA technology. First one is restriction enzymes, second one is plasmid vectors, third one is host organisms, and third one is other enzymes like ligase or Taq polymerase, like other enzymes, and next one is bioreactors. Bioreactors are to produce the products. So these are the tools of rDNA technology. The first one is restriction enzymes. Let us see. Restriction enzymes. Restriction enzymes are two types. First of all, restriction enzymes are produced by bacteria. Restriction enzymes are produced by bacteria. Restriction enzymes are produced by bacteria. Bacteria, they produce restriction enzymes. So what is the purpose of producing restriction? Restriction enzymes will not be found in any other organisms except bacteria, because in the bacteria these restriction enzymes are nothing but defense mechanism. They perform defense mechanism. They perform defense mechanism in these bacteria. But in our body, defense mechanism is maintained by WBC, some other cells, right? This defense mechanism is maintained by, in these bacteria, defense mechanism is maintained by restriction enzymes. So restriction enzymes, they perform, so that restriction enzymes they produce for the purpose of defense or attacking other microorganisms like bacteriophages, like viruses. So now the defense mechanism, what is the purpose of this restriction enzymes in bacteria? That is defense mechanism, very very important. And there are two types of restriction enzymes. The first one is restriction exonucleases, and second one is restriction, first of all let us see restriction enzymes for methylation. Restriction enzymes for methylation, and second one is restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA. Restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA. Restriction enzymes for methylation and restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA. Again, restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA, again two types, restriction exonucleases, restriction endonucleases. So this is the broad classification of restriction enzymes. Restriction enzymes are produced by bacteria, and the function of restriction enzyme inside the bacterial cell is defense mechanism, to provide defense mechanism. Restriction enzymes are two types. First one is restriction enzyme for methylation and restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA. Restriction enzymes for methylation and restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA. And restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA, again two types, restriction exonucleases and restriction endonucleases. First let us see now restriction enzymes for methylation. What is the function of restriction enzymes for methylation? When viral DNA comes into bacteriophage, we can see in the bacteriophage, now this is bacterial cell, and bacteriophage is nothing but virus. So bacteriophage, when it comes into bacterial cell, bacteriophage attacks the bacterial cell and it delivers its DNA into bacteria cell. So when it delivers, then some methyl groups will be added to some of the places in some of the nitrogen bases. When the methyl groups are added to nitrogen bases, the properties of these nitrogen bases or the properties of DNA will be changed. As the property of DNA is changed, it will become inactive. It cannot perform its function inside the bacterial cell. Okay, once again let us see what is the function of methylation. Restriction enzymes, why they have to produce? First of all, why bacteria produce restriction enzymes? Bacteria produces restriction enzymes to attack bacteriophages. Means to survive from, to restrict or to protect themselves from bacteriophages. To protect themselves from bacteriophages, bacteria produce restriction enzymes. Bacteria is different, bacteriophage is different. Bacteria, we know that already, and bacteriophage is nothing but virus that attacks this bacteria. So bacteria is producing restriction enzymes against to these bacteriophages, or bacteriophages are virus. These bacteriophages are parasites on bacteria. So that when bacteriophage attacks bacterium and it blasts the bacterial cell, means it will break down the bacterial cell. So that bacteriophage, to avoid the bacteriophages, bacteria produces these enzymes, restriction enzymes. So in that, one type of restriction enzymes are restriction enzymes for methylation. When the bacteriophage comes here, they attack that bacteria and they release their DNA into bacterial cell. Immediately, the restriction enzymes for methylation, they will add methyl groups to this bacteriophage DNA. So that what will happen? The DNA will be inactive. Next, bacteria for, this is restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA. Restriction enzymes for cutting off DNA is exonucleases and endonucleases. What are exonucleases? What are endonucleases? Exonuclease. So this is, for example, bacterial DNA. This is DNA, for example, like these nucleotides are there, for example. These nucleotides, if they are cutting from ends, so if they are cutting from ends, that is called as exonuclease. Restriction exonuclease cut the DNA from the ends. One nucleotide they will remove. So that is from this is, we know that already DNA is a strand of nucleotides, polynucleotide strand. DNA is a polynucleotide strand. So from this DNA, every nucleotide they will remove from the ends. From the ends they will remove nucleotides. So this process is done by restriction enzymes, exonucleases. Restriction enzymes, exonucleases. And endonuclease, what they will do? Endonuclease, they will cut the DNA in particular places, that's all, in the middle of the DNA. They will never remove that they will never remove even a single nucleotide. That is very, very important. So there will be no loss of nucleotides, only just they will break down the chain link, that's all. But here what happens, exonucleases, for example, this is one DNA molecule, final they will remove this, that molecules, nucleotides. So nucleotides, they will remove the nucleotides from the ends, from the both ends, or from this end or from that end. So whatever it is, the exonuclease, they will remove one nucleotide. Simply just what we have to understand is, just making this chalk paste into powder, and making this chalk paste into pieces. This is, make this chalk paste into pieces, like just, for example, this is DNA, every nucleotide is removed, just little, it becomes like a powder. But that is what it will do, endonuclease. Endonuclease make the DNA into pieces. But there will be no loss of, even a single nucleotide, very, very important. There will be no loss of even a single nucleotide, but here nucleotides will be removed from the DNA. Again, reassociation is highly impossible here. Reassociation is highly impossible, but here reassociation is highly possible. So in this case, endonucleases, in the endonucleases, when the DNA is cut into some particular pieces, these pieces again can be rejoined. So that is endonuclease. So that in our biotechnology experiments, all these endonucleases only useful. In the restriction enzymes, restriction endonucleases are important. Exonucleases and endonucleases. Restriction endonucleases are useful in biotechnology experiments, and they will cut the DNA only particular places. So that restriction endonucleases are called as biological or molecular. They are called as molecular scissors. Molecular scissors. Restriction endonucleases are also called molecular scissors. Which organisms are called as molecular scissors? Molecular scissors. and the restriction endonuclease enzymes are called molecular scissors. Restriction enzymes also called molecular scissors because they cut the DNA in particular places called restriction sites. A restriction site is made up of 6 base pairs. So for example, GAA-TTC and GAA-TTC, and it is made up of 6 bases called as that restriction site made up of 6 bases, and it's specially called as palindromic sequences. These are called palindromic sequences. Palindromic sequences. So what is palindromic sequence? The palindromic sequence means the sequence that reads same. The sequence that reads same on both strands of DNA when the direction is kept same. This is very, very important. So many people will do that. So this is Malayalam is there, Malayalam. So Malayalam, if you see, so this is a palindromic sequence. Generally, this is palindromic word. So both sides it is read same. But if you write the definition like that, that is wrong. See, this is Malayalam, it is a palindromic, right? Both this side or this side, it reads Malayalam only. But here, so this is 2 strands. This is the sequence present on the 2 strands when the direction is kept same. For example, this is 5' to 3' and this is 5' to 3'. When the direction is kept same, 5' to 3', if you read from 5' to 3', then only it is same. If you read from 5' to 3', then only it is same. So that this palindromic sequence, what you have to say, the sequence that reads same on the both strands of DNA. The sequence that reads same on the both strands of DNA when the direction is kept same. The sequence that reads on both strands of DNA when the sequence is kept same, or when the direction is kept same. When the direction is kept same, then only 5' to 3' GAA-TTC and 5' to 3' GAA-TTC. When the direction is kept same, then only it reads same. The sequence that reads same on both strands of DNA when the direction is kept same, that sequence is called as palindromic sequences. And the palindromic sequences are nothing but restriction sites. On this restriction site, one particular enzyme will act. This is restriction endonucleases act on this palindromic sequence. They will cut the DNA in these places, in between G and A. In between G and A, they will cut. You can see here they will cut the DNA sequence like this. Here they will cut like this. Then what will happen? 2 strands will form like this. One strand is longer, another strand is smaller. You can see here. So this is longer and this is shorter strand. And this is shorter strand and this is longer strand. So these type of strands are called the strands of DNA which is having one long strand, another one is short strand. So this DNA is called, this end is known as sticky end. This end is sticky end. When they come together like this, they form one DNA again. So these type of ends are called sticky ends. One strand is long and another strand is short. You can see this is long and this is short. And this is long and this is short. So these type of ends are called sticky ends. When the restriction endonucleases act on palindromic sequences, they'll cut the DNA in this way. They'll cut the DNA in this way. And they'll cut the DNA in this way, and finally what happens, they will release, they will add like this by using of ligase enzymes. By using of ligase enzyme, they will join like this. So that these type of ends are called sticky ends. By using of restriction endonuclease. So what is the function of restriction endonuclease? Restriction endonuclease is used to cut the DNA into 2 fragments, and restriction enzymes form sticky ends. And these sticky ends are nothing but one strand of DNA contains longer and another strand of DNA consists of shorter strand. So this one short strand and long strand DNA end is known as sticky ends. They will sticky ends, both sticky ends will join like this. So this is sticky end, and sticky ends will be joined by the enzyme ligase. Sticky ends will be joined by the enzyme ligase. The first restriction enzyme discovered is HIN2. The first restriction enzyme discovered is HIN2. What is this HIN2? This HIN2 is obtained from or extracted from Haemophilus influenza. Now let us see the nomenclature of restriction enzymes. In the nomenclature of restriction enzymes, first one let us see EcoR1. So this is an enzyme, it comes from the name how it is given. E for this is given, this is taken from Escherichia and CEO is taken from coli. So this is the restriction enzyme which is extracted from Escherichia coli bacterium. So that the E is the first letter of restriction enzyme is the first letter of restriction enzyme will be taken from the first letter of genus of the bacterium from which it is collected. The first letter of this is restriction enzyme name of the restriction enzyme. Then first letter of restriction name of the restriction enzyme is taken from the first letter of genus of the bacterium from which it is extracted. So this is genus of the bacterium from which it is extracted. So that this first letter will be this first letter. Next second one is coli, CO. So coli, in that CO is taken and that is. Next one R13 is that R13 is the variety of the bacteria. This is the type of bacterium and this is one. The name one is given for first extracted one, first extracted. So first extracted are the first time it is identified, the first extracted from this bacterium. So that is name is given Escherichia coli R1. Eco R1, E for Escherichia and C for coli and R for R13 strain and R13 this is R13 strain, R13 and this is one is for the first extracted enzyme. Then how it's Hind 2 will be the second, Hind 2 is given means Hind 1 is also there, that might be a first restricted enzyme. So this is the first discovered restriction enzyme, first discovered restriction enzyme. The first discovered restriction enzyme is the first discovered restriction enzyme. The first discovered restriction enzyme is Hind 2. The Hind 1 is also first time identified. Hind 1 name is how it is given Haemophilus. Haemophilus influenza. Haemophilus influenza D strain. So Haemophilus influenza D strain. So this has been collected from this enzyme. Hind 2 is collected from Haemophilus influenza. The first enzyme also collected, but that first enzyme is not endonuclease. So that enzyme they have collected and they given the name as Hind 1. But that is the first discovered restriction enzyme, but it is not working as the property. It doesn't have the properties of restriction enzyme, so that it was removed. And Hind 2 is considered as the first discovered restriction enzyme. The first discovered restriction enzyme is Hind 1 is not a restriction enzyme. Hind 1 is not having the properties of restriction enzyme, so that it is eliminated. So that Hind 2 is given the first discovered restriction enzyme. Hind 1 is collected and Hind 1 is given as Hind 1 is identified as not a restriction enzyme. So that Hind 2 is the first discovered restriction enzyme. Hind H for Haemophilus and IN for influenza and D for strain D and 2 is second time extracted enzyme. So in this way nomenclature will be given to restriction enzymes. So this is Haemophilus influenza Hind 2. For example, SAL is SAL1, Streptococcus albus. Streptococcus albus. The enzyme, this enzyme comes from the bacterium Streptococcus albus. And next one is PST1. This is Providencia stata T. Providencia stata T is the bacterium from which it is collected, PST. And next one is BAMH1, Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. Bacillus amyloliquefaciens enzyme. Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. These names are not important. Just how the name is given, try to understand, that's all. These names don't need to remember. But just SAL, S for Streptococcus, AL from albus. Species name is albus, no? From that albus, AL, BVS albus, AL is taken. And Streptococcus, S is taken, SAL. From this, S is from this, and this AL is from here. Streptococcus albus. PS1, Providencia stata T. And next one is BAMH1, BAM, Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. Next one is PVU, this is Proteus vulgaris. Proteus vulgaris. Proteus vulgaris. Like this, different bacteria from different bacteria, different types of restriction enzymes have been collected, and these restriction enzyme names are given like this as per their scientific names from the bacteria from which they are extracted. So these are some examples. This is the nomenclature of restriction enzymes. Now let us see rDNA technology in the process. Already in the last class we have discussed about restriction enzymes. Restriction enzymes are used to cut the DNA in particular sites. So these sites are called palindromic sequences. Palindromic sequence means, for example, GAATTC. This is 3' to 5'. For example, 3' to 5' this is, and CTTAAG this is. Same, in the same way 3' to 5'. When you see these two, when you read these two in the same direction, when you read these two strands in the same direction, we will get the same sequence. So for example, when you read from 3' to 5' and GAATTC, when you read from 3' to 5' and GAATTC. So the sequence that reads same on the both strands of DNA is called palindromic sequence. The sequence that reads same on the both strands of DNA is known as palindromic sequence. A palindromic sequence contains 6 base pairs. A palindromic sequence contains 6 base pairs. You can see there are 6 base pairs here, GAATTC. When you see this, restriction enzyme cut the DNA in this place. Restriction enzyme cut the DNA in the place. In the previous class we have discussed that. So GAATTC, in between this, what will happen? The cutting will be happen. So that these two types of strands will be formed. One strand will be longer, another strand will be smaller. These type of ends are called sticky ends. So sticky end means one end is larger, another end is smaller. This is sticky ends. Next, come to this rDNA technology. In the rDNA technology, foreign DNA is taken like this. So this is the foreign DNA. In this, one particular piece of gene is interested to use in another DNA by using of vector. We know already vector. Vector is nothing but a plasmid. Vector is nothing but plasmid in bacterium, right? So vector is nothing but a plasmid in bacterium. We have already discussed that plasmid means extra chromosomal DNA, double stranded DNA, circular DNA. Plasmid is a double stranded DNA, circular DNA, and it can undergoes by its own. It can undergoes replication by its own. So these are characters of vector. Vector is nothing but a plasmid. So plasmid are used to transfer the genes from one particular organism to another particular organism, so that these vectors are called as molecular vehicles. Vectors are known as what? Molecular vehicles. Vectors are known as molecular vehicles. Why they are called molecular vehicles? Because the vectors are used to transmit, or vectors are used to transfer the particular piece of DNA from one organism to another organism. So this is the function of vector DNA. So that vector DNA is also known as molecular vehicles. So this is plasmid. So plasmid and the foreign DNA both should be cut down with the same restriction enzyme. It is very, very important, because every restriction enzyme has its own particular palindromic sequences. For example, EcoR1 acts on GAATTC. This is the palindromic sequence on which that EcoR1 acts on this. But like this, many palindromic sequences are there in the DNAs, many palindromic sequences. So every particular enzyme or restriction enzyme acts on one particular palindromic sequence, so that every enzyme has its own palindromic sequence. Sometimes one palindromic sequence is only used cut down by one particular type of restriction enzyme. Another restriction enzyme cannot cut this palindromic sequence. At that time, so same type of restriction enzyme we must have to use. If we use same type of restriction enzyme, same places they will cut. Means in here, wherever the sequence is found in the same place they will cut. Here, wherever the same sequence is found in the same place they will cut. so that sticky ends will form, so that they can join the sticky ends easily. They can join the sticky ends. So rejoining is easy. So that restriction enzyme, same restriction enzyme should be used. The same restriction enzyme should be used to cut this restriction, to cut the Pauline DNA and at the same time vector DNA. The same restriction enzyme must have to be used, because when you use same restriction enzyme, same type of sticky ends will form. Same type of sequence we will get, same type of sequence will be cut down in the same place, in the both places, so that these ends are used to rejoin. These ends are can be rejoined again. Otherwise, if it is cut in one by one restriction enzyme, if it is cut down by another restriction enzyme, for example, then what will happen here? The sticky ends which are formed are different from the sticky ends here, so that this piece of DNA cannot be joined with this. When they are used, when we are used two different type of restriction enzymes, but here we have used only one type of restriction enzyme. Here we have used only one type of restriction enzyme, so that the same restriction enzyme cut the foreign gene and vector, you can see here. So this is vector and this is foreign DNA or gene of interest or alien DNA. Foreign DNA, alien DNA or gene of interest disease. So this is cut down by the same restriction enzyme, and this plasmid is also cut down by the same restriction enzyme, so that same type of restriction sites, same type of sticky ends will form. Same type of sticky ends will be joined later. So by the enzyme ligase, here enzyme is very important, ligase joins. You can see here color variation also we can see. The plasmid DNA is given with green color and the gene of interest is given with red color. You can see here green color DNA is plasmid and new DNA is joined here. So that this type of DNA is called as chimeric DNA. This type of DNA is called chimeric DNA, or also known as rDNA, recombinant DNA. This type of DNA is called recombinant DNA or chimeric DNA. Very important. What is recombinant DNA? The DNA which is taken another piece of DNA from another organism. The DNA which is rejoined with another piece of DNA from another organism is known as rDNA, recombinant DNA. The recombinant DNA later transformed into a new organism. Like for example, this is, let us consider as E. coli. This is considered as E. coli. In the E. coli it is transformed. Which one is transformed? New rDNA. Means rDNA means recombinant DNA. Already the plasmid is there. At the same time foreign DNA is also there in this. So now this rDNA or recombinant DNA is transferred to bacterial cells. In the bacterial cells what will happen? The cells will divide. When the cell divides, then what happens? This rDNA, recombinant DNA, will be entered into newly divided cells. In the newly divided cells, when the cell is divided, as well as along with the cell, genomic DNA undergoes replication process. At the same time, plasmid also undergoes replication. When the plasmid undergoes replication, this plasmid DNA along with rDNA or along with foreign gene will be also divided. So when it is divided, and it will be gone to daughter cells, so that in every cell this DNA will be continued. This process is called rDNA technology. Now the second tool of rDNA technology, vectors. So this is PBR322. PBR322 is a plasmid vector. It was constructed by this PBR full form is P for plasmid, and B for Bolivar, and R for Routledge. Scientist. R for Routledge. So plasmid, Bolivar and Routledge. So the P for plasmid, B means Bolivar and R means Routledge. So these two scientists constructed artificial plasmid vectors. So this number is 322 number. So this is called plasmid, Bolivar and Routledge, PBR 322. In this PBR 322, this is artificially constructed plasmid. In this plasmid, ampicillin resistant gene and tetracycline resistant genes are used. Ampicillin resistant, so this is ampicillin. Generally, the bacteria do not have in the bacterial plasmid. Generally, there will be no ampicillin and tetracycline genes. So antibiotic resistant genes are absent in the plasmid of normal bacterium. So they have taken normal bacterial plasmid and they have inserted ampicillin and tetracycline resistant genes. Naturally, these two genes are not found in the bacterial plasmids, so that they have artificially constructed, that's all. And in this ampicillin tetracycline resistant genes they have kept. What is the use of ampicillin tetracycline resistant genes in this plasmid? We will see in the next class. So then that is, these are EcoR1, CLA and CLAV1. This is CLA1 and HIND3 and BAMH1 and SAL1. These are all totally, what we have to say, these are the enzymes cloning sites. Enzyme restriction enzyme cloning sites. Meaning is if we use BAMH1 restriction enzyme, it will cut the plasmid in this place. So this plasmid PVU full form is PVU is a restriction enzyme that is taken from Proteus vulgaris bacterium. This is the first one. See, this is non-nucleus, already we have seen Proteus vulgaris 1. So PVU1 enzyme, EcoR1, E. coli we have discussed already. CLA, this is this is what class? Next, HIND2, HIND3, Haemophilus influenza and BAMH1, Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. So these are totally enzymes collected from. These are the enzymes collected from the bacterium. These bacteria are, these are cloning sites. So the cloning sites are used to cut the plasmid. And what is the importance of ampicillin tetracycline genes? They are used as genetic markers. What is the importance of genetic markers? Genetic markers are used to identify the transformants from non-transformants. Genetic markers are used to identification of transformants from non-transformants. So that is the function of ampicillin and tetracycline resistant genes. And this is ROP, proteins of replication. ROP full form is proteins of replication. ROP, proteins of replication. ROP full form is proteins of replication. So the proteins which are helps in replication process will be kept inside, and here ORI, origin of replication site. The origin of replication site is very, very important in plasmid, and this origin of replication site helps in maintaining the number of the DNA molecules, the number of copies of linked DNA molecules. ORI site regulates the number of copies of linked DNA. So that is regulated by which one? ORI site. ORI site regulates the number of copies of linked DNA to this plasmid. For this plasmid, for example, this is plasmid. For this plasmid, a new piece of DNA we have inserted. For example, this is new piece of DNA, alien DNA. This is plasmid, for example. And the plasmid is cut down like this, a new piece of DNA is inserted. When the new piece of DNA is inserted, then what happens? Then this is called as new DNA. This is alien DNA, and this is plasmid. So in this plasmid, ORI site, particular place ORI site is present. This ORI site only decides how many copies of this linked DNA has to be formed. How many copies of this linked DNA has to be formed will be decided by ORI site only. So that ORI site is considered as, the ORI site is main important for the controls the number of copies of linked DNA which are formed from this plasmid. And next, ampicillin tetracycline. Genetic markers. What is this genetic markers? When the new DNA is inserted, whether they are inserted or not, we don't know. If the new DNA, this is plasmid, in this plasmid, still no new DNA is not inserted. If it is inserted, how to find out? Whether the DNA is inserted or not, how to find out? That is very, very important genetic markers. If you see, for example, BAMH1 enzyme is used. BAMH1 enzyme, Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. This enzyme is collected from the Bacillus amyloliquefaciens enzyme. Bacillus amyloliquefaciens. From this bacterium it is collected. So from this bacterium it is collected, and this restriction enzyme, when you use, it will cut the DNA in this place. it will cut the plasmid in this place. So plasmid will be cut down in this place when it is used. When BAMH1 use, it is cut in this place. So when it is cut down, then what will happen? The plasmid will be open in this place. So this is cut from here to here. This is the pink color one, you can see. From here to here, this is completely tetracycline resistant gene. Continuous tetracycline resistant gene. This total pink color is tetracycline resistant gene. But when we use BAMH1, what happens? This sequence will be cut down in this place. So that tetracycline resistant gene is broken. Tetracycline resistant gene is broken. When tetracycline resistant gene is broken, and in this place we have cut down this DNA, and in this place a new alien DNA we will insert. When new alien DNA is inserted, then what will happen? This sequence will not be rejoined, so the tetracycline will be inactivated. Are you understanding? Once again, I'll just tell you, listen. So this is tetracycline resistant gene, completely from here to here. The continuous sequence is very, very important, very, very essential. The continuous sequence is required. If continuous sequence is not there, even a single letter is variation happens, it will not be working. It will not work, right? So then this is tetracycline resistant gene. By using of tetracycline resistant gene, BAMH1, by using of BAMH1, tetracycline resistant gene will be cut down. And a new DNA, for example, this part is tetracycline resistant gene. In this place we have cut down, and a new DNA is inserted. In this place, this part is tetracycline resistant gene, and in this place we have cut down this, and we have inserted a new DNA in this place. Then what happened? This sequence will be separated. When the sequence is separated, then what happens? When the sequence is separated, this will not be worked out. If this plasmid is inserted into one bacterium, that bacteria will show resistance to. That bacteria shows resistance to. Try to guess the answer. For example, this is completely tetracycline resistant gene, and this tetracycline resistant gene is cut down by using a BAMH1 enzyme, and in this place a new DNA is inserted here, so that this sequence is separated. When this sequence is separated by using a new DNA inserted in the place, no, so that sequence is separated. When it is separated, now along with the new DNA in this place, this entire plasmid, only in this place new DNA, the entire plasmid is inserted into bacterium. Then the bacterium shows resistance to, yes, ampicillin, not for tetracycline. But we have tried to insert a new DNA, but it was not inserted. Again, it was normally matched. See, this is, we have cut down here, and we have tried to insert a new gene, but the gene was not inserted. Again, it will become normal. At that time, the bacteria shows resistance to. See, listen once again, think properly. Here, this is tetracycline resistant gene, this is ampicillin resistant gene. By using a BAMH1, we have if we insert one new DNA here in this place, then this tetracycline gene inactivated, so that this plasmid contains only ampicillin resistant gene at the time. Then if this plasmid is given to one bacterium, that bacteria shows resistance to. That bacteria shows resistance to only ampicillin, not for tetracycline. If, for example, in this place we have tried but not inserted. We have tried, but the DNA is not inserted. Then what happens? Tetracycline resistant gene becomes normal. At that time, in this place, this plasmid is given to a new bacterium. Then what will happen? The bacteria shows resistance to both tetracycline and ampicillin. Because in this place we have tried to insert one new DNA, but it was not inserted. Again, the tetracycline gene becomes normal. We have cut down the tetracycline gene. Yes, we have cut down the tetracycline gene, but new DNA was not inserted. Again, the tetracycline gene become normal. So that this bacterium will show resistance to tetracycline and ampicillin. So if the new DNA is inserted, means in which place we are inserting? In the ampicillin or tetracycline, that we have to see. If the ampicillin place, by using of this enzyme, if you try it here, then what will happen? Ampicillin will not work out. If the DNA is inserted, if the new DNA is inserted, where you are trying to insert it, that particular gene will not be activated. Because new DNA you are inserting here, so that ampicillin will not be inserted. Ampicillin will not be activated. If you insert a new gene here or here, then tetracycline gene will be inactivated. Are you understanding? But at the same time, If, for example, DNA is not inserted completely, means again they will show resistance to both. So that in this way, transformants will show resistance to both, but non-transformants will show resistance to only particular tetracycline or ampicillin resistant gene. So this is what we can say is genetic. In this way, ampicillin and tetracycline are used as genetic markers.